Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies, where in the cosmic turnabout, we question the movements of a certain body or person, that of the murdered Clay Terran. Was he really dead at the point in time the prosecution says, earlier on, brought down a ladder, dropped even, by Solomon Starbuck? Well, Blackwell still asserts that's exactly what's going on. It is clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. Ah! Here, the report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it my send-off gift. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Ah! Okay, so more evidence stuff. The victim's tank was ruptured with 0% left. The defendant's had 80%. Remaining oxygen is displayed on the left shoulder. But they wouldn't have needed oxygen, so I'm not sure how that... Well, I guess the fire consuming the oxygen. Is that what we're playing along the lines of here? Remaining oxygen is displayed on the left shoulder. This is important. Do we have anything that correlates with that? Hey, this report is pretty detailed. Okay, the display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured and the remaining oxygen was 0%. The tank belonged to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Basically, the short description just made longer. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. Let's see. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows how much oxygen remains. I guess that means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen remaining. However, we see if the oxygen ran out and they were functioning normally, and and someone's oxygen was at 80%, the defendant, then who's that at the 50 consuming oxygen? It's got to be Clay Terran. We found our angle straight away. I guess that means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen remaining and our way back into the case. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Space boy. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful even when viewed through bars. You mean stars are seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half bad thought. Mr. Starbuck, Prosecutor Blackwell got to him good. Spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt and my despair, into the deepest, darkest space. And then, let's get sucked into a black hole together! Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh. Yes, Apollo? You know, Clay really looked up to you. He said you were an incredible man. He said you never give up your dreams and passion for space no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Terran. For Clay! You're wasting your breath. Okay then, you weirdo. Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. Mr. Starbuck, I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove you're innocent. You'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. Rah! You ignited the booster rockets of my soul! I'm on fire! I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Boulder Dash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling me. Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! You know you can't fly, right? Yeah? We get this fact. Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch, do you know? Apollo, you did it! You broke Prosecutor Blackwell's grip over Mr. Starbuck. I can't take the credit, it was all Mr. Starbuck. He pulled himself through. If you simpletons are done massaging one another's egos, no matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right, your boldness? I can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Now, let's see. About this data that we just received. This supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. Enough of this farce, your boldness. Let's have your verdict. Objection! Prosecutor Blackwell seemed to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict. But about this oxygen tank data you submitted just now. It says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining while Mr. Terran's had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, Justice Stono. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look here at the detailed description, you'll see what I mean. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Yes, Your Honor. Right away. This is the evidence the oxygen tank report stands in contradiction to. Well, if we had to say anything, it's not the oxygen tank data, it's the security camera video. That which shows things going on, because that's where we get ourselves our picture. Take that! And how does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part here. The display. The cyan numbers. Take that! Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Terran. It appears to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client's tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen in the tank increased? I see Your Honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there is a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my! You're absolutely right! What is going on here? Silence. I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it is the defendant carrying the victim's corpse. Objection! No, that's exactly what it changes. I'm gonna bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase just as your rations don't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it. Silence. In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of the mysteriously increasing oxygen? You better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate counter-argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. Do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can! The thing to do at a time like this is turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried Clay. So this man with a 50 on his tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck. But if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have shown an 80. This is a clear contradiction between the report and the security footage. So what I should be asking is not why did the oxygen level increase, but what had to have happened to make it look like it increased. Am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumptions here?
Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. It's because the victim was carrying the defendant. The defendant was unconscious, or at least hard of walking. What if it was the other way round?
The other way around? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice?
As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out, this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck to the boarding lounge.
It was... What? Order! Mr. Justice, you mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Terran?
It's the only way the riddle of the increasing oxygen level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%, and when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0%. That's right. There's nothing contradictory about the oxygen level decreasing. This means Mr. Terran was alive as they made their escape to the lounge.
Silence.
How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed, even if the victim was alive at this point in time? How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me? It's true that we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we have proven that Mr. Terran was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility the victim could have been killed by a third party. Ah! There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candice Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? Do you think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging.
It seems we'll have to hear the testimony of these first two people on the scene.
Score!
Come to think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court right now. Bailiff, if you please show Detective Arm to the stand.
Ah! I have an announcement, everyone. I don't know what member his voice was.
What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here.
But please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode.
Load!
And here we go. A bomb. Now. Ah! Everybody run! Ah! I don't want to die! Oh no! Everybody's panicking!
Silence.
Headless chickens with a death wish, the lot of you. Calm yourselves before all else. Come on, Apollo. Let's get out of here. But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream? And who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow the truth up forever. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, this is no time to be dramatic. Don't get out of here now. If we don't get out of here now even, we're gonna die. Come on, this way. Hey, ouch! Let me go. She can throw you out if she wants to. Apollo! Juniper, she hasn't evacuated yet. Ah! Juniper, are you alright? Apollo, no! Not that way! No! And so brings to an end Case of the past, I'd have to say. Now we move finally to the present. To the Apollo Justice that has left Wright Anything Agency. Let's find out as we continue the Cosmic Turnabout. If we are continuing it, does it lead on to something else from here? In the middle of the Space Center bombing trial, we had another bombing incident. This one destroyed Courtroom number 4. Furthermore, Apollo suffered massive injuries from being there when the bomb went off. Unfortunately, Juniper Woods was fingered as the courtroom bomber. Just for being there. It's so stupid. Athena and I knew she had to be innocent, so we took her case on. We managed to clear Miss Wood's name. But Apollo sustained further injuries when he was attacked by Ted Tenate. So we turned to the Wright Anything Agency. I've lost track of time. I hope you guys haven't. Apollo is a tough guy, but this is taking its toll on him. Yeah, poor guy. Being attacked by Tenate like that on top of all of his other injuries. Apollo was resting at the nearby Hickfield Clinic. I have had some experience with that place myself. What an awful turn of events. I never thought he'd land in a hospital of all places. You must miss him too, huh? Now that you don't have anybody to tease. Don't worry, he's young. He'll heal quickly and be back before you know it. It's been a while since I last saw Trucy look so down. We won the court case, yet nobody feels much like celebrating. Alright, enough of this, people! This is no time to be moping around. Now dry those eyes, both of you.
You're the only one who's crying, Athena.
Technicalities. Look, we have work to do. We have to take over. Take over what exactly? Apollo Space Center case, of course. Has no verdicts been reached, there's still a chance. I agree with Athena. We should pick up Mr. Starbuck's defense. We have to avenge our fallen comrade. Right, Daddy? Apollo hasn't exactly fallen. He's still alive, you know. Good. Now that's settled, let's get going. Come on, we gotta run. Wait, right now? We better not be running the whole way. There she goes. I better go catch up. Can you take care of the office, Trucy? Sure thing, Daddy. Let's be careful out there. In the meantime, I'm gonna bake some cookies and fill out my magic panties for you. Trucy seems to be feeling a little better. I can always count on Athena to perk everybody up with her enthusiasm. Oh, she's back. Don't mind me, just forgot a few things. Wallet, phone, the documents, my bag. Sounds more like you forgot everything. I can always count on Athena for that too. Alright, you two, let's be careful out there. So we move to the detention center as we take up the case. So our client is one Solomon Starbuck. He's so famous even I've heard of him. That's right. He's a super famous astronaut who works at the Cosmos Space Center. He was actually up in outer space 7 years ago. Seems to know quite a bit about him. Now I'm all excited to meet the man. Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Apollo told me all about you. You're Phoenix Wright, Apollo's mentor, right? Yeah, that's right. Mentor has a nice ring to it. Don't worry about a thing, Mr. Starbuck. Mr. Wright and I've got you covered. And you're the new kid that Apollo told me about. Wait, did I know you from somewhere? Huh? You mean other than at your trial? I don't think so. I guess so. My mistake. My memory isn't what it used to be. My mind and body are kaput. Same goes for my life. I mean, I'm so astronomically unlucky that I had a bomb go off in the middle of my trial. Trying to defend me would be like trying to enter the stratosphere without a spacecraft. Yikes, he's seriously got to stop depressing himself. Cheer up, Mr. Starbuck. Besides, that thing you said about entering the stratosphere, that just means we'd shine like shooting stars, right? Like shooting stars, huh? You know, you're right. Why not think of that? And after all, that's what we were all put on this earth to do, right? Shine like stars. I guess I shouldn't mention the fact that shooting stars burn out in a flash. Oh yeah! Here we go! 3, 2, 1! To the stratosphere and beyond! Yeah, I feel alive now. You can go ahead and ask me about anything you want. Okay, Buzz. Is that really all it takes? Just a little bit of the pep talk, eh? So you have no memory at all of the incident? I'm so ashamed. My memory of the time is as black and cloud as the dark nebula. Still, it's strange you don't remember a thing. Are you sure you didn't take one of those anti-anxiety pills like you said at the trial? You got it wrong! I told them during the investigation too! I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear! Yeah, because they said it, not you said it. It is true I developed a fear of space because of what happened 7 years ago. And I was taking medication secretly every now and then when my anxiety got bad. Having a fear of space is not something an astronaut can brag about, you know. Oh, the so-called Hat 1 miracle. It must have been a terrifying experience. But I'm still an astronaut at heart, come what may. I would never take drugs that might impede my performance just before a launch. That launch meant everything to me. That's more certain than the theory of relativity. He seems like a completely different person now. This is the face of the astronaut I know. But the tranquilizers were found in your system. Yeah, see, that's the thing. But I don't know why. I'm done for. If you didn't take them, then maybe somebody slipped them to you. Exactly! That's what I thought! You must have been the real culprit. My medication was in my locker. Anybody could have gotten their hands on it. Maybe the real culprit also planted the detonator switch in your pocket? Yeah, that's gotta be it. I've been framed! I'll say, they even managed to plant your prints on the switch before slipping it in. It's a real possibility. Do you remember anything else that might be relevant? Anything at all, no matter how small? Like, about the motor weapon, for example. A knife. I think it came from one of the Space Center's utility kits. Utility kits? Yeah, staff who work on machinery a lot are given these special toolkits to use. All the technicians have them, so I doubt you could prove whose knife it is. So the utility knife has been updated in the court record. So the Hat 1 miracle. As I recall, your last trip into space was 7 years ago, right? That's right. It was a pretty rough experience. During that mission, we had all kinds of problems with the craft. You did? What kind of problems? Power failure, oxygen leakage, busted radio, cracked windows, loose control column. The heat shield came off as we were entering the atmosphere. I thought I was a goner. But I managed to make it somehow with the popsicles and ice packs from the freezer. No wonder they dubbed it the Hat 1 miracle. It's a miracle you made it back. Space is a boundless place. That's why it continues to capture people's imagination. But the vastness of space shows us how insignificant we are in the scheme of things. The darkness just goes on, forever and ever and ever, without end. There was nobody else there. nobody was going to come save me. I was all alone. All alone. With nothing to listen to but the sound of my own breathing and heartbeat. I kept scrambling to make repairs, but I couldn't keep my hands from shaking. An experience like that would make anybody afraid to go up into space. God, it would make anyone a wreck. Like, can you imagine that? The panic, that feeling, the noise. A little bit of a simulation was given to us, but still, that's crazy. So tell us more about outer space. With the experience you had, weren't you dreading this mission? What? No way! Of course not. Even now I want to go up into space so bad I can barely stand it. I want to shake off the Earth's gravity at escape velocity and spin around weightless. But you have to admit it was pretty harrowing. Weren't you even a tiny bit afraid? I was afraid. Of course I was. Still am. But space is man's final frontier. An unknown world. The cosmic truth is out there waiting for us somewhere. The cosmic truth, huh? I guess there are people looking for the truth in every walk of life. No matter how afraid I am, I'm sure I can manage. If I give in to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep up the fight. One thing's for sure, Mr. Starbuck's passion for space is undeniably the real deal. Now let's talk more about the victim then. The victim, Clay Terran. He was kind of like your protege, wasn't he? Well, it wasn't a big exaggerated deal like master and apprentice or anything like that. But Clay did finger me as his mentor. The mentor and the protege. What a combination they must have been. With his encouragement, I knew I could get over my fear and go back into space. But now... Clay must have been very encouraging, huh? Yeah, it's funny really. Whenever I'd hear him shout, "You're fine!" I always got the feeling everything really was gonna be just fine. You're fine. Apollo says I'm fine, and you're fine all the time too. And I always feel encouraged too, whenever I hear him shout it. Yeah, Clay and Apollo were best buds. They used to come visit the Space Center a lot, ever since they were high school kids. One day out of the blue, Clay even told me he wanted to be my protege. Those two hung around the Space Center so much they were like a part of the staff. One time during Zero G training, I started to panic a little bit. And the two of them took turns shouting, "You're fine!" over the radio. It was a simple thing, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. So, I'm fine and you're fine were like Apollo and Clay's secret phrases, huh? I wish I could ask Apollo more about Clay and their relationship now. Speaking of Clay, how do you suppose he climbed down the ladder with you over his shoulder? Sorry, but I can't even begin to imagine. But he actually did climb down that ladder, so a way has to exist. From the freedom of space to the walls of a cell. But that prosecutor said the dark night sky isn't half bad through barred windows. You're fine! Solomon Starbuck is fine. Everything is gonna be alright. Huh? And Athena Cykes is fine. Come on, Mr. Wright, you too. Do I really have to? Phoenix Wright is fine. I can't hear you! Phoenix Wright's fine! We'll get you back into space yet, Mr. Starbuck. Believe in your own innocence. And have faith in us. Apollo believed in you wholeheartedly, and that's good enough for me. I believe in you too. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. I put my faith in you. And I vow to make it back into space! All I need first is a not guilty verdict. It sure feels nice to reassure ourselves every now and then that we're all fine. Okay, Mr. Wright. Let's get our investigation of the Space Center started. Pronto. Good idea. Let's go. And so it is, to infinity and beyond, we head to the space station. But with the bombing having taken place and our future kind of secured a little bit here. We're gonna get to the bottom of a lot of new mysteries and hopefully speak to the injured Apollo at the Hickfield Center. However, first of all, it's time for us to head to that space center. Next time on Dual Destinies. And hopefully nothing more explosive happens. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.